immediately it broke my heart because I always ask myself, what could I do? Like, you see homeless people out on the road and you want to, and our immediate reaction is, let me give them $1. Let me give them $1. Let me give them $1. And we don't realize that that's minuscule to us, but major to them.
It take a certain type of motivation. Not to say I hope I make it, but to know I'll make it. See a way.
Welcome back. We are here with another episode of I Am the Change podcast, brought to you by Dreams to Reality Incorporated, a nonprofit organization geared toward uplifting, inspiring, empowering communities all over the world. I am your host, Mychal Davis, along with our fearless leader, Mr. Jason Redmond.
How you doing?
How you doing tonight?
Man, hey. Every time we do this podcast, man, I get so excited to have guests on the show. Look, today's a special one. I know the first one with Sharice was dope. The second one with DeWanson was outstanding. This
Absolutely.
one, though, I got a chance to watch this young man grow up. And I tell you, man, I am so excited to be in the presence of this guy. I could rattle on about it, but man, this guy right here, this one right here is gonna be a good one. Third one's gonna be the charm, DeWanson. I mean, Mychal.
Third one's the charm.
This man, yeah. Sharice was great. DeWanson was cool.
Absolutely.
Fred Jones Jr. is gonna be amazing. So I say that. So I can tell you a little bit about Fred. Fred's from Durham, North Carolina. Fred and I go to church together. I met Fred through his parents, and just going to church, I got to see Fred. I watched him play basketball, watched him grow up, run around in the church at First Calvary Baptist Church. And he was a ball of energy. Like he believed he could do everything. He didn't think that he didn't think failure. He never, like if he ever failed, I'd have been amazed and accepted it, because to me, failure was never an option. He wasn't afraid of anybody. It was always like, hey man, this is how it is. If you don't like it, we can put these dukes up. We can make it happen. The guy was fearless, man. Like it wasn't nothing. It wasn't anything that this guy wouldn't try, couldn't do, and be successful. It made it look so easy, so easy. We're talking from. I think Fred might have been like 11, 12 years old, maybe. We had to do a homecoming church service, and Fred had to get on stage and sing with one of the ministers, and like you could see the fear in his eyes. He walked on stage, kind of nervous, timid, like. Well, man, Joker blew the song up, and it was like ah. But it was great, man. It was
hey,
great.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
So what, you can sing a little bit, Fred?
Man, I can hold a note or two, man, but I'm a dancer now, man.
Yeah, that's the next thing. Mychal, man, how many dudes do you know that get out here mime?
What? Mime?
Go tell him, Fred. I'm gonna stop being your hype man. Go ahead, tell him, Fred. Go ahead.
Look, man. So again, as he said, man, I'm Fred, man, and I'm glad to be here, be on this podcast. First and foremost, you know what I'm saying. With anything, I give honor to God, who is the head of my life and who is the reason why I move, live, and have been. And that's not formality. That's facts. And for me, it's just the fact that in anything, man, I am not endowed with talent. I am just overwhelmed by grace. And so it got to the point, man, where me being all that I am and all that I have was from parents who disciplined me, man, created that discipline in me to, strive to go get it, and push to go get it, push to never accept failure as an option, and to keep pushing, man, and find your niche, whatever you have. So as he stated, I was a young kid, you know, in athletics, you know, whether it be Pop Warner football to basketball to track, you know, and all of these kind of things. But I danced, I grew up trained in ballet and jazz and
Oh, wow.
contemporary.
It's amazing.
But my ministry was actually birthed and derived in the art and the gifting of mine. That this art form has equipped me and allowed me to travel across this country, literally, internationally, to minister this gospel through this art of dance. And now being at this point where I can now pour that back into the young men and young women in our communities, man, and then literally watch how God will take an art form of expressive dance and literally transform lives, man. And you know, they always say, man, you got to be careful of a smooth talker because he can always talk his way into some mess, but he can talk his way out of it. But the ministry of mom has shown how powerful actions are beyond words. And so more than anything, you know, Jason Redmond has opened up this platform of dreams to reality to me, man, because, you know, it's so vital to be a part of something that not benefits you emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, but that benefits your community because now you can give back out of that grace that you did not deserve, that gift of love that you did nothing to earn, but that was given to you. And you know, more than anything, I started off by just saying he always said, I give seed to the sower. So in order for me to have seeds to plant, I know for a fact that if I still have things to sow, that means he's endowing me with something to sow. So I have to have seeds in me to pour out. So I'm grateful to be a seed sower that he'll continue to pour, man.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. I mean, just to hear you talk about pouring into others, helping others, that's amazing. And I mean, it sounds like God truly has an anointing on your life to do some powerful things in this world. And I think it's only the beginning for you. I was reading a little bit about you, you know, in the Help the Homeless Project, and it said you saw a news story about a man freezing to death, and that's what kind of struck this in you to sort of make a change. So tell me a little bit about that and what you did after.
It's really crazy, man, because of the fact that I was sitting in my room. I was in my dorm room at the illustrious North Carolina A&T State University. And in this vein of, you know, even All-Star Weekend where they are honoring HBCUs, I shout out and give honor to the HBCU that had a part in molding me of North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. I was sitting in my dorm room and one day, and I was looking at the news and it was so cold during the winter. I saw a news article where a homeless man I saw a news story, where a homeless man had passed away from freezing underneath the bridge. And immediately it broke my heart because I always ask myself, what could I do? Like, you know, you see homeless people out on the road and our immediate reaction is, let me give them $1. Let me give them. Right. And in God's hands, little becomes much. Like, think about these people who don't have the abilities and the capabilities that you do. So my heart was led more than anything to do something. Right. So thus I put together the Help the Homeless Project, where it allowed me to put together, you know, toboggans, you know, just a simple toboggan to cover your ears in the cold, you know, cover your ears and cover your head, you know, a simple pair of socks, you know, when you were, as it stated in the bio, when you were at home, you used to walk around and be cold and you'd be like, Mom, I'm cold. And she'd be like, well, if you put on some socks, you might not be cold.
Yeah, exactly.
Think about put on some socks, you might not be cold. And, you know, you get you a pair of gloves, man. And I remember the days of snuggling up in front of a fire with a warm blanket. Mm-hmm. And so that's what the Homeless Project is about. It's about taking the innermost warmth of your home and bringing it to where you are, man. You know, and bringing that to you. So we brought toboggans, blankets, gloves, toiletries, socks, toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant, hand sanitizer. We bought these things to people that didn't have. And although this stuff seems minuscule to us, it's kind of like you don't know where their next bath is going to be. Some people need that $5 to get a gym membership so they can go and try to just use the shower once a day. And we don't think about that. And I'm gonna just give you this because I want to move through the podcast, but sometimes you know where your ministry is, where you're attacked in. And what I mean by that is the areas where you're attacked the most is the areas where God can use you mightily. So I want to say on December 26th, I think it was, Jason, that we did the Help the Homeless Project the day after Christmas.
Yes, yeah.
And then then December 28th, we're bringing blankets, gloves, socks, toboggans, toiletries to homeless on the street to bring them warmth. And then the 28th, 48 hours afterwards, my HVAC goes out of my house and I have no heat in the dead winter. Like, no, I'm still inside my home. But the problem is,
it's cold.
What happens when you lose the very thing that kept you warm? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that's what it just became real. And I knew that the ministry was real because when you start doing things that God is calling you to, the enemy will attack you in those areas to make you doubt God, to make you question why he gave you what he gave you. And the real reason why he gave you what he gave you is because you're the one that he knew he could trust to get it done through.
Man, hey, Mychal, you see what you see?
That's powerful. Man. I mean,
hey man, hey.
You know, I'm sort of in a loss for words. That's something serious. You know what I'm saying? That's. Go ahead, Jason.
Man, look, I'm gonna tell you. So in the Bible, it talks about John the Baptist and it talks about Jesus. It talks about how John the Baptist comes before Jesus to set the way. So I've always liked. No doubt. I mean, I believe God sent Jesus, sent his only begotten son to die for our sins. That's not a question. But I believe that when people read the Bible, everybody wants to be Jesus, but nobody wants to be John the Baptist. I believe if I could be somebody in the Bible, I would be John the Baptist because I would love to come before the man to help excel his platform. So when I heard that Fred Jones Jr., the man, was saying, hey man, we're gonna do this project. I'm like, hey man, count me in. I'm sold. You don't have to tell me anything. So I was just mad because the day he did it, I couldn't help because I had a previous engagement. But man, I got a chance to go back out and help like the next day. And man, it was, if you've ever had something happen and just touches you, it was crazy,
I mean,
man.
Because I was reading and you said you know what I'm saying, you set a goal to help at least 200 people, but you exceeded that goal. Two winners straight by helping almost 300 people, you know what I'm saying?
And we got the numbers back, and after helping three additional organizations, we served over 420 people. And you know, it's kind of amazing, man. We helped 3 organizations. You know, a young brother of mine named John Carter, he did a bundle up project. There was another church in Durham that we partnered with. They did a homeless project, and we sold into their ministry with excess that we had left over from ours. And then there was a sorority out of sorority Delta Sigma Theta. They did a homeless project, the same project in Elon. And I saw them at Walmart, and I just had bags in my trunk and said, "Yo, here got some stuff." They were looking around for some stuff to buy, and I had stuff in my trunk. So, you know, I'm just grateful to have leftovers, man. Jason Redman has offered me more opportunities to serve than I can ever be appreciative for. Like it's just far beyond more. Like I was able to serve with him to help at-risk young adult men, to help at-risk young men in Person County, you know, to try to help them, you know, with job applications, to help them mentoring programs, you know. Service is a gift and really it's not even a gift, it's a heart, it's a lifestyle, man. And that's the seed that was not only that I don't get to plant now, but it's a seed that my dad planted in me young. Jason Redmond and we grew up. I grew up at First Calvary, of course, First Calvary in Durham, where we go, now. And my dad, used to be over the van ministry. And I remember as a kid in elementary school and middle school, growing up every Wednesday and every Sunday, getting on the church van after school, getting my dad picking me up, going straight from school home, drop a book bag, not even him not getting out of the car. I go in, sit my book bag down, get back in the car, and we're at the church. And we're at the church Wednesday nights at 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock, getting the church van prepared to go around the town and pick up the elder women of the church. And my job was the step stool boy. Every stop. I mean, it was so joyous, because just the joy I found in popping open those church doors and putting that step stool down on the ground before they could get in. Some of them didn't need it, but just the challenge of me making sure that I was, because some of them would already be standing outside ready to get on that church van. And just the joy that I found jumping out of the van, making sure that stool was there, flipping that stool back up in there, closing those doors, having those conversations with those elder women on the van, and even seeing those women in their older age and their wisdom being poured into me as a kid, and God rest their souls. Some of them have now gone on, to be in glory. And the thing about it is just to know that something as minuscule as a step stool, God will take your step stool days to be a step stool for somebody else to make it over a hurdle in their life. Like, and it became real to me as a kid, man, because literally I never knew that something as small as a step stool, and literally that's what God wants us to be as the church, is to be the very thing that can help elevate somebody to the next level. Can you help me? Not only does a step stool help me step up, but it changes my vantage point. It changes my view. It helps me get to the next level. It helps me see things that I could not normally see on this level. And that's what the mentoring program is about, helping young men see beyond their current situations, see beyond the issues of their life. And even now with the step stool of helping the homeless, getting to a point where, listen, I know what your circumstance is. Let me lift you up in any way possible. Let me lift you up in any way possible. Like, I'm tempted in this moment to change the homeless project to a step stool reference, because that's what it's all about, man. And it's just a blessing. It's a blessing, man. Even now to be working with Jason Redmond on a water drive where we are collecting water for the homeless, water bottles for the homeless, bottles of water, 8 ounces and 10 ounce bottles of water for the homeless. Our goal is 21,000, and
20, I think we said 23,000.
23,000.
That's a week.
23,540. So and you got to think that supplies the whole month of worth of water. Like in 24 hours, we were able to come up with over 2,000 bottles of water in 24 hours.
Yeah.
And so it's a blessing in this moment to have the Dreams to Reality project, because these are things that we sit home, and these are visions and ideas that we have. And Jason Redmond has just provided a platform, and I'm so grateful, because he has provided a platform for us. The Bible says, write the vision, make it plain. And literally we have written this vision in our hearts, etched in stone, and he has now given us the way to make it plain and make it happen. So I'm forever grateful for that.
Oh, so I'm definitely.
Hey, Mychal, don't let him give me too many props, man.
Hey, I mean, you got to give props where props is due. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, I'm grateful too, and I got to edify you too, because I wouldn't be in a position where I'm connected to you first of all, and to people like Fred. I mean, I'm almost tempted to let him take over the podcast. Like I'm sitting here listening to his testimony, you know what I'm saying? And it's so powerful. Like, I mean, it's inspiring me to act or do something right now, man. And I could just think back because I was always taught to help, you know what I'm saying? Like anytime we would see somebody homeless at the store, they would ask for money. My parents wouldn't let me give them money, but we would always buy them a meal or something, you know what I'm saying? Buy them some food. And it's just like, I think back to that and I want to do so much more because since I moved to Seattle, the homeless problem up here is just, I mean, it's outrageous. Like there's roads where it's just nothing but tents. There's tents all down the road, you know what I'm saying? And it's something like what you're doing, it needs to be done down here. And that type of change needs to happen in these areas. And I mean, we need more people like you. You're truly an agent of change with what you've been. I mean, it sounds like you've been, you had this anointing since a child. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have this in you since a child. And a lot of people don't realize that at such a young age. I mean, I think that's amazing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Jason. You can go ahead.
No. Hey, man, look, you're good. Because I was going to tell you, the funny part about this is, like, if you ever act, like, you would think Fred's over 30. Like, Fred's not over, you're not over 30, are you, Fred?
No, I'm 28.
Yeah, Fred's not even 30 years old yet, man.
I'm 28.
I'm 29, so we right there. You younger than
me. See, man, for me, I've always believed that, so when I was in college, man, we learned a poem called Bridge Builder, man. One of the biggest, and I can't recite it verbatim anymore, but the premise of that story was it was an old man on a journey, and when he was on this journey, he came across a cavern, and that cavern was insurpassable, but he made it across the other side, and he said, hey, look, he went back and he built a bridge, and by building that bridge, people were asking, like, why are you building a bridge? You're not gonna come back this way anymore. You don't have to pass this way. You made it to the other side. The guy's like, it's not about me. It's about the next man that comes along and sees this unsurpassable obstacle. I'm gonna make their path a little easier. And so for me, I've always felt like if I can reach back and take somebody's idea and help them put that idea into something that makes them give back to their community and help. And man, it's all about helping. And if you can't help somebody, if you can't just take it in yourself to help somebody without trying to get something from it, I mean, I don't know what to say, man. It's service to me is so lovely, man, because my parents did it. My mom she worked at Texas Southern University for over 20 years. She would go to work at 6 a.m. Like, she would leave the house before I went to school, and she would get back home around 9 o'clock at night, and she'd be there typing papers, helping students. My dad was a football coach. My parents got divorced. I was in like 3rd or 4th grade, but all I saw was service. And to me, that's important, man. I try to pass the same thing to my children, but you got to give back, man. And when Fred was talking about this project, man, it was amazing, man. It was hard. It was hard to.
And don't think it, and again, don't think it's all. And I don't ever want people to think that this walk of service is easy.
Oh, no.
Because it causes you not only to sacrifice of your time, your talents, your treasures. It causes you to, like, the biggest word in service is sacrifice. Exactly. Because at the end of the day, like, you don't know, and this is just a teachable moment, not only for me, but for other people. A lot of the time we've been taught this ideology that you should give and do it because God is going to give back. But one of the things that I learned to be more effective in my life, not only is, yes, God is willing to give it back, but you have to be willing to give and have the understanding and the mind state of, even if he never gives it back, you did it because the Bible says, be not weary in well doing. So your job is to be not weary in well doing, but to know that you're doing well. And you have to continue to do well and know that you will reap if you faint not. And the problem is, we think that because we sow in this area, that this is what we'll reap in this area, but that's not how it always happens. So the reason why you can't faint in this area is because what happens is we'll see us giving and giving and giving to the homeless, thinking that it's just going to come back in this way. And it doesn't always come like that. But I've been through many storms where my light should have been cut off. My car could have been gone. My life could have been gone. And you just never know sometimes how you're kept and how you're covered and how that you've been able to pour out and plant. And, in this vein, man, it's just service is sacrificial, and it's going to cost you, knowing that, one of the biggest things that, Jesus even did in the Bible, man, to show his humility was washing of feet. That's service, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to know that if you can put yourself to work and serve people, it takes the innermost parts of yourself. So I'm grateful to have this opportunity. I'm grateful to be in this place, to help the homeless. A lot of people think that homeless people are just charity work people. But I always tell people, man, you are one bill not being paid away from being in that position. And if you literally sit down and just talk to some of them, because a lot of them, we don't want to touch them, we don't want to get too close, we don't. And the thing about it is, we don't realize they're people. And if you hear some people's story, man, you hear war veterans, you hear, like, I think we were out there the other day giving out the bags, and we ran into a guy who graduated from what is the Le Cordon Bleu? What is the culinary school?
Johnson Wells.
No, not the one in Charlotte.
You talking about the one I didn't come out?
The big time one.
Yeah.
And he graduated from there, but
Yeah.
he went through a rough season where he lost everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you graduated from one of the top culinary schools in the country.
Yeah.
And you lose everything. Like, so I tell him, man, we are sustained by grace. And it's by no power or no skill of our own. And I don't care how many gifts you have, you can always end up in a bad place.
Yeah.
And we're just grateful and have thanks unto God that he kept us beyond our last mistake, that he kept us beyond our last mess up, that he kept us when we splurged our stuff on the wrong things. We're kept. So the best thing that we can do is give back, because in his hands, little becomes much, man.
And I mean, I do want to know, because you've created this, what I'm saying, you had a vision in the dorm room, and you come to this point where you've created something that's affecting lives and truly changing lives out here. What do you see for the future of the Help the Homeless Project? Like, what do you want to happen?
Man,
what is your dream for this project?
My dream for this project, honestly, is to literally be a full-time program for, like, with homeless shelters in not only the Durham, but in the surrounding areas, where we are able to have governmental funding to make sure that these projects like this have seasonal things to give out, like, whether it be toiletries, whether it be where I can just put together bags and make sure people have what they need, what we do sign up lists that people can get what they need on a regular basis. Like, you think about the basic necessities that, some of us have: toothbrush, toothpaste, things like that. I'm a little OCD, so I'm different. I change my toothbrush almost every week, and you think some of these homeless people got the same toothbrush they didn't have since last year when we did it. Yeah. Some of them take the risk every day when they're brushing their teeth. They sit that thing on a bathroom sink, germs, just wanting to be able to provide them. If I can find somewhere where I can go in, contract with Planet Fitness, where, for a strong hour afterwards, when after closing hours, we block off this time for an hour to have an overtime staff, or have a staff come in where we can have them come in, we can sign them up to come in, shower, get themselves together, and then we clean the facility afterwards for the next day, just to make sure that there's somewhere we have transport for them to get to a shelter where they can have where they can have a night's sleep. I'm gonna tell you this, man, because it really, I knew it was different for me, man, with this whole project, because in January, I was leaving Walmart by my house. And as I'm leaving Walmart by my house, I'm going down the street. I'm around the corner from the house, and I'm going down the street, and there's a man crawling on his hands and his knees in the grass. It's freezing cold. When I say freezing, I'm talking about the grass is frozen. like it's probably about 25 degrees outside.
Woo.
It's freezing.
Mm.
And you know, we've had some cold nights here.
Yeah.
And he's crawling on his hands and his knees, trying to stand up and cannot stand up to save his life. And I literally am in the car and I stop immediately in the middle of the street. And I get out of the car, open the door, I say, man, are you okay? Are you okay? And he just looking at me like he can't get words together. He cannot formulate words. And another guy stops and we go up to him. We like, are you okay? And of course, after further evaluation, he was inebriated, but he was so cold, he couldn't formulate words. He was starting to freeze to death. He had been there so long. And so immediately we called the police and we called the ambulance and they come and pick him up. And while they come and pick him up, the ambulance told me if he'd have been out here any longer this night, he would have died. He was that cold. And I was able to, even though he was in the ambulance and he was going to get a warm bed that night, I still made sure I went around to the corner to the house, grabbed him a few more bags. I grabbed him 2 toboggans, grabbed him 4 pairs of gloves, 3 pairs of socks. I grabbed him a blanket, grabbed them some, and just made sure they said, we can't accept them. So you have to come around to the door and hand it to him because we can't give it to him. Right. So I gave it to him. But the thing about it is this, man, it's just, I knew it was real to me because my focus was not on what his issue was. Right. Because with homeless people, we're so focused on how they got here, as opposed to what we can do to get them out of this situation. Right. How many people have gotten content in this lifestyle because they don't have the opportunities to get out of it? And that's, again, I have to give praise and edification to Dreams to Reality because it's giving us that chance to not save the world, but save who we're able to.
So a man freezes to death under a bridge in Greensboro, North Carolina, where the second best HBCU is at. Because of course Knoxville College is always gonna be near and dear to my heart. So, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get this out the way because we're not gonna be shamelessly plugging our institutions.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Hey man, I'm here for it, man. I'm here for that smoke. But so the man freezes to death. And then it comes full circle that a man is freezing to death in front of you on a road. Like, and it, to me, I'm hearing the story, you're putting 2 and 2 together. Like, did you feel like at that moment that was God talking to you saying, hey, look, this is your test. I've got somebody that's about to freeze to death. You can either stop and help them or you can keep on going. Like, tell me what you processed in that moment. How did that kind of solidify this program with you?
I think for me, what the biggest thing for me was in the solidification of everything is the fact that we see homeless people every day. Mm-hmm. We see people in different predicaments every day. Why was this situation so different for you to stop?
Right.
Like, was it the conditions that made you stop? Was it his actions that made you stop? And genuinely, sometimes you don't have the answer. Mm-hmm. All you know is you stop.
Right.
And that's sometimes how it happens with God. Sometimes you don't know, like if you read in the Bible, there's a story where God tells someone to go. And he's like, you'll know when you get there. I'll tell you where to go. Just go. Your job is just to go. Yeah. And God will show you. He will make the path clear. Mm-hmm. And there's this story about Philip and a eunuch where he's on this journey and has no idea where he's going. And literally while he's on the journey, literally he finds this eunuch reading a Bible verse from Isaiah. And as the eunuch is reading this Bible verse, Philip now sees them and says, do you know what you're reading? And the eunuch says, how do I know unless somebody explains it to me? Mm. Now his purpose is fulfilled and understood because he's in this moment. But because out of his obedience to just go, and that's where this full circle came for me. It's genuinely that moment of through adversity, I just wanted to go. And I've gone down this path and I've watched it unfold in front of me in so many ways because I've met so many of the right people that have opened up the opportunity to flow freely and flow effectively in this vein through you, through homeless shelters, through other church organizations. It's just been nothing but blessings, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you because like I procrastinated with my goal, with my hope for a while. And I always thought about like, all right, I don't have this, I don't have these resources, I don't have everything I need to create this dream. But when I started just working, when I started just saying, all right, I see what I want, let me just start moving in that direction, you know what I'm saying, doing something. I found that doors started opening up. Yeah. I found Jason Redmond, you know what I'm saying? You know, and it's so crazy how just acting and in your vision, because I mean, faith without works is dead. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So when you have faith in a dream and a goal, as long as you're willing to put some work in, grind for it, I believe it can be achieved. And I think, you know what I'm saying, you're an inspiration and going to be an inspiration to so many people. Just hearing your testimony and what you want to do and how you want to change the world is amazing. I hate that we got a time limit on this podcast, but I want you to just talk a little bit about real quick, you know what I'm saying? Tell us about any future projects you have coming up, you know what I'm saying? Give us your contact information, how people can contact you if they want to, you know what I'm saying, give resources or, you know what I'm saying, water, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Just give us a little bit before we wrap this thing up.
Absolutely, man. So again, you know, everybody, I'm Frederick Jones, Jr. And I appreciate you all's time and patience in listening to me today. More than anything, some of the projects we have coming up in this vein of help the homeless is we're going to be doing more projects, seasonal projects, where we'll be doing popsicle giveaways, we'll be doing big book bag drives, we'll be doing more toiletry projects, bundle up, we'll be doing the toboggans, the gloves, the socks. And your monetary donation and your donations of any kind are always accepted. You can always reach out to me on Facebook. My name is Fred, Desperate for Christ Jones. Fred, the middle name is Desperate for Christ Jones. You can find me on Instagram. I am Fred Jones. And, you know, you can always reach out to me on there, and I'll always provide the Cash App, Zelle, anything like that, just if you want to sow into that. I always make this disclaimer on any situation. Please know that any funds collected are of no value to me. They do not go in my pocket. My bills are paid. God graced me with a job. I don't need to embezzle or do anything. None of this benefits to me. So if anything, I'm just the vein that it comes through. So please know I always keep receipts from the last 3 years that we've been doing the homeless project. Literally, I have every bag of receipts of anything we've ever bought, that if anybody needs to know where their money went, I have it for you. So more than anything, I want people to know, man, my desire is not that I just get anything out of it. If my name is never recognized, I just want people to know that God said, and when you've done it unto the least of these, you've done it unto me also. And I just want God to be pleased with what we do and realize that I want to do it to him also, because he deserves it. You know, he did it for us first. And our job is to take of our time, talents, and treasures to give back to what he's given us, man. So, yeah, I appreciate y'all.
Hey, look.
Appreciate you.
All right. Hey,
Definitely.
man, thank you for coming on. Hey, look, definitely. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for blessing.
Absolutely.
It's blessing and inspiring the watchers and the subscribers. Hey, Mychal, look, if this don't get our subscription numbers up, man, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Wow. It's gonna get them up. We gotta market this episode. We gotta make sure this episode. Everybody needs to see this episode. So much power in your testimony. We got to get this out there, man. It's been amazing. I'm so glad to be connected with you through Dreams of Reality. Once again, got to thank Jason Redmond for that. Even though he, you know what I'm saying, he don't like it too much, but we gotta edify him.
Absolutely. You got to.
Man, I'm just like John the Baptist, dog. You call me, I'm clearing the way for you. Just call me the hedge. What do you call that little thing when you go in the field?
You don't want in the front whacking.
Yeah. I'm just whacking down the weeds, man. I'm making the stage ready for y'all. Yeah,
man. I hear you.
Yeah, that's all I'm out here trying to do, man.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, it was
call me
an honor.
Bushwhacker. That's what it is, the Bushwhacker.
The Bushwhacker. That's all right.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to whack these bushes, brother. But hey, man, look, I really appreciate you coming on board, man. Look, I'll say it publicly, man. I appreciate everything you've done, from helping with the Success Project in Person County to championing this Help the Homeless Project and jumping on board the water project. I mean, I really appreciate it, like, because you could have said no. You could have said I'm too busy.
Absolutely.
I mean, because giving service ain't sexy, man. So I appreciate you putting a spin on it and making it to where service is something that people want to do and want to help with. And again, dog, you're under 30. Like, these are things that under 30-year-olds don't really do all the time. So for you guys to be out here helping, and even you, Mychal, to be out in Seattle, Washington, the Rhythm of Hope, I really appreciate helping with the podcast, putting this podcast together with the Rhythm of Hope project, and just being, I mean, we're talking like West Coast to the East Coast. There's 100 million other things you could be doing besides helping. So I really appreciate you guys. I don't mind compliments. I really appreciate them. I give them, but I want to give you guys public praise. You guys have done a great job with the things that you're doing. And the sky's the limit. I can't wait to see you guys on TV giving your, talking about your programs and how everything's worked out for you. Yeah, because shoot, I'm ready to be a fan. I'm looking for the autographed copies of the Rhythm of Hope flyers, and I can be out there handing out bags with the Help the Homeless projects and be like, man, where's Fred Jones? I'm like, he's over there. Yeah, I'm ready. Shoot, I'm straight fanning, man. I'm like, yo, I'm the fan man. Yeah.
Hey, you ain't gonna be able to hide in the crowd. They're gonna know who Jason Redmond is.
Right. They're gonna know
who Jason Redmond is.
Okay.
Right. But I'm excited. Everybody is doing something amazing that is a part of Dreams to Reality. So it's great. I gotta meet you, Fred. You gotta come to Seattle, because we need to help the homeless project out here.
Look,
in a big way. You know what I'm saying?
I'm trying to get
we gotta make something happen. Hey,
yeah, man.
We gotta make it happen. You know what I'm saying? I want to.
Oh, you said no. You said Seattle. I'm talking about Washington. What am I talking about?
Yeah, Seattle. Hey, we got to make it happen in Cali too. This, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna be all over the world with it. Anything you brothers want to share before we take this episode out?
Man, more than anything, man, I just want to make sure that if I had to leave this moment telling anybody anything, is to don't diminish the value of your step stool. It may not seem like much now, because I'm gonna tell you, it was not always fun those days. Some of those days when I had to pull that step stool, I was tired after school, didn't want to be bothered. But at the end of the day, and some days my dad used it as punishment. But I'm grateful that he was willing to shape me in service, even in a rough place, man. So don't diminish the value of your step stool, man. It could birth something so great that this world needs, man.
Man, I'm about to write that down, man. I'm gonna post that on Instagram or something. I'm gonna give you credit for it, but I'm not. I got to post that.
Absolutely. And on that note, we're gonna leave off with an amazing word from Fred Jones. I just want to thank everyone for joining us on another episode of I Am the Change podcast, brought to you by Dreams to Reality. I want to thank my guest host, Jason Redmond, always a great host. And I want to thank Mr. Fred Jones for adding so much value, sharing his testimony and sharing his vision with us. Join us next week, same time, same place. It'll be another amazing episode. And remember, we're not trying to be better than anybody, but together we can achieve better for everybody. Thank you. Have a good night. Peace.